Oh, that looks so beautiful.
Even different types of fullers. You see that, guys?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a standard double fuller.
Yeah,
When I say standard, not all sorts that
yeah.
have fullers have double
Double
fullers.
fuller. Yeah,
Whereas the other one had interrupted fullers and stop fullers and things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And at that level, people say, well, a fuller is there to lighten the blade without reducing its strength, which is true. But you get to a certain stage, and they're also there to be decorative.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I
Uh,
agree.
I mean, obviously, you've got to be good enough to not weaken the blade putting the fullers in. And I have seen people who made like Indian daggers that had Khanjar type daggers, where they put the fuller so deep that when the blade got old, spots in the bottom of the fuller rusted through to the fuller on the other side,
Yeah.
and you had slots, and they weren't designed to have slots in them. It was just that they didn't have a command of metalwork that you needed to do that. Now, looking at this one, the way the fullers end and the blade ends is quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got interrupted fullers,
Yes.
a yeoman. There's a yeoman on that, isn't there?
It has it's not a real Yalman, but it has a sharpened back, a small one. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's a narrowed back, not
Narrow.
a yeah,
Yes.
yeah. To increase its cutting ability,
Yes.
not
And
the
again,
back.
there are shamshirs also in the military museums of Iran. They have sharpened back without that Yalman. So
Yeah,
they
without the
exist.
swelling.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. There
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
There
No,
are
I know what you
shamshirs.
mean. I think this is probably
Yeah.
more practical,
Yes.
particularly if you want to keep a blade that's easy to take out of the scabbard,
Yes.
because the big yeomans are difficult. I mean, I've
Indeed,
the
look at the
sword I've got next.
scabbard. That might interest you.
Oh yeah, see, this is classic. See, we're using proper chagrin leather, which is the back of a horse or the back of a donkey,
Yeah.
which has those little knobs because that's the way it is. It's not shark skin, which is what most people think about when you say chagrin.
Yes, they think so. It's not. Yeah.
And sometimes this was fake. They used they'd lie rice
Yeah.
and then they put wet leather on it and beat it down, then take it off, and as it dried, the little lumps would swell up. I've always meant to try that out, but I've got the rice. I've got some old rice that I can't use, but I haven't got around to it.
Pete, you need
Um,
to make a scabbard like that, even if it's short for a card. I'm sure you can make it.
I want to try actually. I'd also like to get the silver wire wrapped
Yeah.
in the seam.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think I could do it both in the same ones because I've seen quite a few Persian scabbards for knives and swords where they don't sew the leather together. They just overlap it and glue it, so you can hardly see
Yeah, you
that
can
there's a
glue
difference.
it, and some of them, as you know, that which you see in the books, they have also, we say it in Persian, simduzi, wire stitching.
Yeah,
They have it as well.
yeah. That to me, I know how to do that kind of stitching in boot making because you've got access to both sides. But on scabbards, I really think you had to sew it inside out, wet it, and then pull it over the wooden part of the scabbard like you'd put socks on. I don't think you could actually do it on the scabbard because the ones I've seen, the stitching, it doesn't come to the surface. It's all on the inside, and you can only do that if it's inside out when you sew it. My Turkish sword's got a scabbard like that. Um, uh, and I mean, I actually bought the sword for the scabbard, not realizing there was a nice sword inside because we couldn't get it out of the scabbard. It was stuck because they put lots of grease on the sword to stop it from rusting, and then it's stuck in the scabbard and couldn't get it out. And I know how it's been stitched. I could stitch it, but inside out. So my guess is that they totally softened the leather and put it back on. But to do that, they had to put all those patterns in first,
Yes.
glued to the wood. Then you pull the wet, soft leather over it,
Mm.
stitched up, and then you get a little tool and you push it into the spaces between the raised ridges. It would be, you'd have to do it quite fast.
Yeah.
You'd have to be like a Japanese or Chinese painter doing one of those really quick paintings.
Oh,
You wouldn't
yes.
have any time to hesitate. Um, it's just so difficult. I mean, to do a knife scabbard like for a card or a pesh cards, because I've got a couple of pesh cards that really need scabbards made for them. I think I might be able to get partway there. Something that would look as though somebody in a village made it, not somebody like this. I don't think I can get that. But maybe, like this is a village. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I've got a scabbard for a knife with the knife in it, and they've just put strings on the wooden core underneath and glued them and flattened them down,
Yeah.
and then put the leather over it, and then push the leather into all the grooves, and it looks really, really nice. There's a
Really?
similar technique used in Mongolia today when they're making boots to make raised leather emblems on stitched to the boots, where they have, like a well, what they actually do is with leather, what they do is they have a metal stamp that pushes down into it, and then you glue a different colored leather onto it and you stitch it all down and then cut bits out. So these kinds of techniques are
Mhm.
fairly widespread, and some places they survive,
Mhm.
but not at this level. This is mastercraft when it comes to leather work. I
Yes.
know people I think that could do this if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I know if I set aside, a month, I might be able to get close. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Look at this bit.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yes. Okay, you guys, before you wonder, this is reflection, unfortunately. This is not whitish, right? When the picture was taken, right?
Yeah, of course the fuller is concave, so
Yes,
one
exactly.
part of it reflects.
Yes.
It's when you see really good photographs of
Yes.
blades in
Yes.
publications, you know that the photographer was an absolute expert, because this is
Yes.
not easy. You need all kinds of things to stop that happening. You need
Yes.
um, diffusers for the lights and all kinds of
Yes.
stuff so that
Yes.
they don't hit so hard. But still, it's picked up that pattern,
Yes.
and
And look at how beautiful it is, the pattern. Even here you see the pattern. Look at this bit.
yeah, it's in the grooves because this is the steel.
Yeah.
In normally, well, I speak from what I understand from the few smiths I know and historical accounts. Normally, with fullers, they were put in with a chisel first, and then they were polished. Whereas today, what they do is they get a some kind of grinding tool and grind the fullers in. So if you had a sword made from this exact piece of wood made today, it wouldn't look the same, because there wouldn't be compression in the folds or anything like that.
Exactly. Very good point. Exactly.
Yeah,
A big
but it's
difference.
so nice. I do like watered steel.
Yes.
Oh, that's
And
such a
these ones
beautiful
are
blade.
Al Gharashi collection, those white bladed Persian shamshir.
Mm,
And this what the collectors in the West call them trade blades, right? Here they have
yeah.
this inscription from the Quran, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah Allahul azim.
Mm,
And on the other side, there is a Persian lion looking back. Remember that bit, those
yeah,
ones, right? So look at the
yeah.
blades. And there are two different ones. There are two different shamshirs. But look at the
Oh, I
fuller
don't know.
system. Pete, do you see how similar they are?
Yeah, yeah, and they've got this kind of vase at the base of the false edge.
Where is it?
So this is clearly
Oh, I see
like
that. Exact good
yeah, yeah,
observation.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. It's like yeah, here. Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
So this problem, I mean, bearing in mind, when you look at a blade, all the inscriptions and engravings are designed to be read with the blade pointing up, but that is clearly like a rosewater sprinkling vase or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's actually pointing down
Yeah.
when you think of the direction of the blade,
Yes.
and that's probably to bring the the design into facing the center rather than it's meant to be read that way. But you see the flooring is really well done.
Very well done.
My guess is that sword has been sharpened quite a bit in its lifetime. Looks like it's been. Uh, Again, the idea of at the last fifth of the blade, we've got multiple fullers, a complex structure to support a sharp edge on both sides.
And B, these two are heavy, like 1,100 grams, both of them approximately.
They look they're serious swords.
Yes, they
In a
are.
sense, when you talk about trade blades, the three big markets for Persian sword blades would be Ottoman Turkey, Mughal India, and probably Afghanistan.
Yes.
Uh, in the kind of like Gulf states and that, uh, Persian blades were valued, so that they were. I don't know what the proportions. Where did the most export blades go to? Because the thing was that even countries that were really good at making their own sword blades, there would be people that liked exotic blades.
Do you
So there would be
remember
Persian.
the? Do you remember from Tanzania, one gentleman I think we talked about it maybe, contacted me and he wanted one of the shamshir blades, that are compared to the other parts. So I write an analysis. I said, yeah, and he said, where is it? He said he found it. They excavate. No, they didn't excavate. Sorry, they were building something, and then when they went for the foundation, it was buried. So
Yeah.
everything was rusted, very badly rusted. It was
Mm,
under the ground, but it was
mm,
also, beautiful blade. So he just had it a bit
yeah.
polished, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then
Well.
said he's so happy. I said, why? He said to me, I think we talked about it. I think he said
Yeah.
he's from Tanzania. I think citizen from Tanzania, but of Omani background. I said,
Yeah.
okay. And then he showed me people in Tanzania sitting, pictures, old pictures, and he also sent me old pictures from Oman. So they had these Omani blades, straight ones,
Yeah.
right? And also
Yeah.
curved
Yeah.
ones. And some of them had shamshir. So this guy is not Omani himself. Oh, no, excuse me. Sorry. Tanzania citizen, Omani
Yeah.
background, ethnic background. And he
Yeah.
said,
Yeah. Well, this is
um,
it because there was this huge trading network
yeah.
down
And
East
he
Africa.
said among Omani community, but not only there, among other guys in Tanzania as well, if they, and in Oman itself, having a Persian blade is the pinnacle. It's like having a Ferrari for them. So, he said
Oh,
that, right? It's interesting, isn't it?
no, it's surprising how wide the taste for Persian blades went. I
Yeah,
mean, even in China, in the Imperial collection, there are a few Persian blades.
yeah,
Well, when I say a few, I don't know how many. I've only seen a couple in books.
yes,
Um, so that all over the world, where people were interested in swords, Persian blades were highly regarded. And the fact that, say, in Turkey they had two different types of curved swords, one based on the Persian style, one indigenous or developed from an earlier Turkish style.
yes,
Um, the 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 influence is noticeable. I mean, even general officer swords, which are copied from Mamluk sabers, which are copied from Persian. Well,
yes,
when I say
very
copied, that
interesting.
they were part of a whole worldview of how swords should look.
Yes.
I was almost going to go German on you and say Weltenbrennen.
We are going to continue our journey, Pete, but there are some others here.
Oh yeah,
Okay, this one was this wide blade. This one we saw that
yeah,
classical one. This one we are going to see with the Karbala
excellent.
hilt and dragon hat, downward
Yeah, see
gaze.
that shape of hilt and those downturn quillions seem to be a design choice that you see in quite a few different swords. Some
Yes,
are straight, some are not,
yes.
but it seems to be very popular.
And this is made of patterned crucible steel. It's a straight sword. Also published. All this you can see all measurements and weight in my books.
Yeah.
We're going to see
Mm.
that now. Beat this
Ah,
one made of patterned crucible steel, extremely sharp, well balanced, unbelievable and interesting. We have examples of that also. One of them is to a Safavid king attributed, which you could also
mm.
cut your nails still with it. This one as well. This one also is so sharp and interesting, made of beautiful patterned crucible steel, so sharp you will not believe, and beat sharp on both sides. Also
Yeah,
from
yeah,
here.
because
Yeah.
there's no point, yeah, making it
Yeah.
corrugated
Beat,
like that,
isn't
and
it beautiful?
it's a see what's interesting about this is it's restrained. You see a lot of swords where the waves are quite big
Yes.
and it's unbalanced. The sword doesn't look right. This looks like a fully functioning sword, but you've incorporated this idea
Yes.
of
And
of a
I
serrated
was
edge.
talking to a colleague, and she said something very interesting. she loves Chris, and said, "Oh, it looks like a waved like a Chris blade, not this look, but wavy." And I said, with one
Yeah,
difference, making such a flamberge blade made of crucible steel. We saw
yeah, that's really hard. Because
that.
in Indonesia, charis making is a what we'd call a pattern welding system,
Yeah.
where not, but it's more complex because they didn't just use uh, ferrous metals. They didn't just use iron and steel. They used you'll find all kinds of different metals in some charis blades
Yes.
because that was their culture. They developed this idea, and it's a very complex culture.
Yes.
So, but it's interesting that you have different ways of doing it. I mean, making pattern welding blades was known in Iran. They did
Yes.
it
Yes. Yes. They did.
because you could make very good blades that way.
Yes. They did.
Um, I think that Woods had prestige.
Yes.
You could, this is again a personal opinion, not even based on my own knowledge, but based on people who I knew handled a lot more swords than I've ever seen. Saying that you could, the surviving pattern welded blades are often tougher than Woods blades. Woods hold an edge perfectly because they're so hard, but you hit two Woods blades together, and there's a chance that if one of them isn't perfect, it may break. Whereas if you hit a pattern welded blade against a Woods blade, the worst that can happen is you get a big dent in your pattern welded blade. Whereas
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've got
We
two
have.
toolbars.
I have handled many Persian blades in Iran, and also everywhere. I have we have also pattern welded steel, qame,
Mm.
qaddare, but we have very few of them are made of many of them are made of pattern welded steel, qame and qaddare, right? And
Mm.
I up to now, Indian examples I've seen pattern welded steel, but up to now I have not seen a single Persian shamshir made of pattern welded steel. Now up to
Well,
now,
that's interesting.
up to
Interesting
now.
that a different type of sword, like a garare, could have a
But
pattern
I
welded
have
blade.
I have to say I have handled like thousands Kamen Gaddare. I have maybe had 20, 30 of them made of patent crucible steel. Most of
Mm.
them are made of patent welded steel. Isn't it
Yeah,
interesting? Very
it
interesting.
is,
Oh,
and
yes.
I
And
mean, maybe
another
there
thing,
was.
Beat, another thing, just add, you saw that we
Yeah,
talked about these barrels, beautiful patent welded steel, Persians made, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then our colleague Rainer, the German gentleman colleague from Den Haag, from Portugal, he showed me barrels, Indian, not Persian, made of patent crucible steel, barrels. Right, so they made it in India, and he said this is nonsense that some people say that patent crucible steel could not be used for barrels because it's too hard. It's not true, and he's a very good
No, no, no.
and they could, and
The people that were.
his idea was
Mhm.
it's too expensive. Pattern welded steel is you know easier to make, and it gets more expensive. And then another thing, the reason I'm saying that, people always ask me, have you seen barrels? I'm not talking about Indians. Indian exists, I saw them in Portugal. Are they barrels in Persia and Iran made of patterned crucible steel? I have never handled up to now. Are they shamshirs made of pattern welded steel? No, I have never seen that. That's interesting
But
to see. That's it.
yeah,
Just wanted to
it,
say that. Up to now.
it may have been a cultural choice rather than an engineering choice. It may
Yes.
have been that
Yes.
if you wanted to own a good shamshir, you wanted it to be woods.
Yes. Yes.
But a different type of sword, maybe historically, because if Al Kindi from the 9th or 10th century, he talks about both kinds.
Yes. He does.
And so obviously it's both traditions are old in Iran
Yes.
and up into Central Asia.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see that they might think, yeah, this is not the right steel for this blade. It's not that you can't make them; they didn't want to.
They didn't want to. Yes.
Yeah,
They surely could. Surely could. Surely. So
yeah.
and then
I think
excuse me. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, what I was going to say is what we said earlier, that this is male jewelry as well as weapons.
Yes, absolutely. Look at this one,
And,
please.
oh, those hilts are so interesting.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know whether I'd like to use a sword with a hilt like that. Bear in mind, I've not much use for a sword. But when you look at it, it's got its own different kind of elegance.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
that blade looks like it could cut through
Oh,
well,
that's a
almost
heavy
anything you
one.
want it to cut through. It's so solid. And it's been properly polished by the looks of things too.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
traditionally, with a deeply fullered blade,
Yes.
you would etch the whole blade and then polish the edges and the back
Yes.
so that it stood out shiny compared to the beautiful
Beautiful.
pattern in the fuller. Whereas if it's thin fullers, then you etch the whole blade and just polish the edge. But
Yes.
I like the fact that the dragons have either mustaches or tongues coming out of their mouths.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it does. There are
Yeah,
also different
that's
types of dragon hats, right? That's very beautiful.
yeah. I mean, I've seen some really beautiful jade cross guards with the dragons in books. I don't think I've
Yes.
ever seen one in person. Um,
Yes.
oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at this. It's so beautiful. Very beautiful.
I think the most difficult thing I ever had to photograph was a piece of wood steel, a piece of a blade, looking at a blade with wood steel to try and get the pattern to come out. It is
Yes.
so difficult.
Difficult.
And when you see it, oh, that's
Yeah.
so,
This is this rat shaped, not fullered. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is a more typical style.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Functional, very functional.
yes.
But the thing about it is it's pared back. There's nothing unnecessary there.
No.
In a
No.
sense, fullers are a bit of a show-off piece. And they're probably more important in wider blades than narrow blades. A blade like this, I mean, most of the shamshirs I saw that were with this plain type of blade, the blade was like 6, 7 millimeters
Yeah.
thick at the back.
Yeah.
They're not thin, flimsy blades.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're remarkably strong.
Look at this pattern, Beat.
Yeah, look at that.
Wave pattern. You see?
Mm.
Beautiful, huh?
Yeah, this is exceptionally nice pattern. But there's so many different patterns. You could spend your life just interested in one pattern, and you'd find 100 swords with just that one pattern.
Yes.
But there's what 40, 50 patterns.
Yeah. This one, which is published in Persian Archery and Swordsmanship, has a wide blade, heavy straight sword, be extremely sharp, and patterned crucible steel, and inlaid writing a very beautiful Persian poem on both sides in these cartouches.
Uh,
Really nice.
And it also is that a one piece steel grip inlaid with gold?
Yeah, there are the two pieces, and they are then
Are
welded.
they soldered together?
Yes, yes,
What I'm talking about is the difference between a grip that's two pieces onto the tang and a grip that's a piece that the tang fits into.
Oh no, no, no.
And
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, it goes. The tank goes into it and then attached.
yeah,
That's what you mean. Sorry, I
see,
misunderstood.
there's some similarities to the grip on a tulwar, but without pommel.
Without
This
pommel.
is, and I've seen really old swords like in
Yes,
Kapi and that,
yes,
which have that pattern hilt. So
yes,
it's an ancient hilt. There may even be a couple of swords
yes,
or hilts that have been excavated. They may be in
yes.
the Kalili collection
Pete, I'm sure
from
you've
places
seen
like
that.
Oman.
I don't know if I have it here. No, I don't have it here. But in my books, I've published it. Not all blades are that wide. Some of them are narrower, but some of them and taper to a very sharp point, really like this.
Yeah.
Extremely sharp point, and some of them are also strengthened point. So not all straight swords end up with such a tip. Just wanted to mention
Yeah,
that.
well, that's typical of a cutting sword that's
Yes,
only meant to cut.
yes, yes,
Uh, but as you say, a lot of old swords have either a boat-shaped tip
Yes.
or an extremely sharp and reinforced tip.
You know,
It just depends
the
on the,
reason I mentioned it, guys, also straight swords have variations. Some of them are fullered, some of them are not fullered. This one is not fullered.
yeah,
And then,
yeah,
and then some of them end up in a sharp point. The reason being I mentioned that people don't see it and say, okay, Persian straight sword have such a tip. That's the
yeah.
reason I
Well, this
mentioned
is it. You see the one straight sword and think, "Oh, straight swords are like that." No, they're not.
it. Exactly. I just wanted.
And I mean, the fact is that people were making straight swords well into the 19th century as well.
Yes.
They weren't lost. Um, there's a famous multi-fullered straight sword in Topkapi, which they believe was made in the late 18th century, 19th century. At the time it was displayed, they said it was from the time of the Abbasid caliphs, but later when they investigated it more, they realised that it was made much later. But what it meant, they weren't trying to fake a sword.
No.
The attribution came long after it went into the treasury. What it meant was people in the late 18th, early 19th century still had the skill and the knowledge to make high quality straight swords.
Yes.
And we forget, you think these arts completely die out, but they don't. I mean, sometimes they do.
Yes.
But there were a lot of things that were still being done
Yes.
in a high level of skill,
Yes.
not just copying stuff, but actually knowing how stuff should go together.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. And the handle, Pete, look how beautiful.
yeah, that type of handle, I would like to get my hands on a sword with that type of handle to feel what it was like to hit something holding a handle like that. I've
Do you
hit
see
things
the
holding a
rabbit?
tool.
The pigeons,
Is
the
there
rabbit?
oh yeah, there's a rabbit.
Yes.
Is it? And pigeons
Yes.
and other little quail, I think, further
Yes.
up.
Yes.
It's got a whole menagerie plus
Yes.
flowering plants. It is actually a really beautifully executed handle.
Yes. Very nice.
And the dragon has a long curved upper lip like the Indian Maikara,
Yes,
the water.
exactly. This one, yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. But that's such a beautiful hand grip.
Yeah, really beautiful.
Again, you see people that collect detached hand grips because a lot of these could be taken off, and the sword gets remounted to something else, and you've got a hand grip left. And they gradually collectors find them, and they don't buy them as parts of swords; they buy them as sculptures
They
and put them
do.
on a
Yes,
little
they do.
stand.
I mean, I
Which,
talked
when
to
you
a
look at it,
collector. He also collected like sword handles and armor pieces, but never ever a sword, a dagger, a blade. I said, why? He said this makes it easier to move.
yes,
Different legislation because he worked a lot in different countries. He said,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
But it makes it, if somebody wants to steal it, it makes it a unit which they can sell. Whereas they might know whether they could sell a handle or a blade or whatever.
yeah, you're right.
I,
That's also
I mean, the whole problem with this is, I mean, I own some relatively inexpensive old knives and swords, but if I had valuable ones, I'd have to keep them in a bank
yeah, you're right.
because it would be just too easy to steal them. Luckily, I don't. But sometimes I was offered really nice swords, and I thought, am I the right person to look after this? I think you've got to be rich enough to have security and things, or
Yeah,
give it to them.
yeah.
It's worrisome when you think
Worrisome.
about some of the beautiful stuff that's around.
And
Oh,
this
that
is
is